Greetings from the Erie Coast. This is Mad Shad with another episode, chapter 2, the Saga of Bruce. So Bruce takes off walking from Asgard to walk the lands and see what's going on, basically. Doing what he wants. That's what Bruce does, right? So, armed with his cup, that is never empty, and his nunchucks, the weight of the world behind it, but light as a feather, and unbreakable, walks through Álfinheimr, the elf world, which is a beautiful place. It's kind of rocky and scraggly, kind of weird, and there's scattered villages of elves and dwarves that live in this area. This is where in the mountain areas where all the weapons of the gods are made, and where Bruce's nunchucks were actually made. But as he's walking, checking out the amazing scenery of the area, weird trees, mostly pines, hardwoods, oaks, and some other trees he have never seen before. The same amount of plants and birds and animals still exist, like we know today, but some of them are a little different. There's a lot of fairies flying around, and a lot of weird things, magical things, if you will, that catches attention. But for Álfinheimr, that's all basic, simple stuff. So, for the most part, it's a very peaceful place, or it was. Until a great seether. A seether is a type of seer, witch, magic doer. Very interesting people. They have to wear every skin of every animal on their body, and they know rune magic, and usually they're females. There is some sexual magic involved. But also men can join the seether if they're argar or ragar. But for the most part, it's mostly women, and they're usually they usually hang out, or they usually travel from village to village, and they perform rituals and rites that are necessary in daily life, in Norse life. In Álfinheim's same thing, you can always, employ a seether to help you with a matter, put a curse on somebody, help you, to be in favor with someone, give you good fortune, all this and that. And it all comes with a price, and usually there's some kind of sacrifice and sex magic involved, and weird things on their part. But this one particular village in Álfinheimr, we're just going to call it Álfinheimr. It's a very, very interesting place. Very nice and quaint. The people there, they live out of a very meager existence. They have some cows and chickens and guptas and wild stock, and they farm. They do some farming, and they're well known for their mead. They make some of the best mead in the world. They have the best honey, actually, and this honey comes from this very fragrant flower, and it's like a miniature sunflower, if you will. It's probably about this tall. and it's a very sweet, beautiful nectar, honey. Bees love it. But the honey, the nectar, it's kind of like the nectar of the gods, if you will. It comes from this this specific humming flower. It actually hums like a little tune, especially when the wind blows through it. It accentuates. So Bruce Lee had no idea about any of this, but this flower grew on a certain hillside outside of the village, and a seether had came through and did some work, did some magic, and the flower insulted her so much. She hated the hum that she placed a curse on the flower, or not a curse on the flower, but she cursed the land, and she caused a volcano some 1,000 miles away to constantly spit lava rock / meteorites on this mound, this hillside where only these flowers grew, and they range from very small to usually very small. It was like a meteor shower kind of thing, but it was a lava shower, and she did this, and actually she did this in hopes that the villagers would kind of pay a ransom, like a ransomware. Pay me this exorbitant amount of money, and everybody has to have sex with me, or all your precious flowers are going to die. So, the elfin village in Álfinheimr, they didn't know what to do. They're like, man, we don't have that kind of money, and we're sorry that thing, offended you with its hum. But we find it quite beautiful, and so does everything else here. It's the humming village, if you will, the humming flower, and they make the best mead, and it's got the best honey there. So she started doing that, and it went on for a long, long time. So much so that this hillside was completely covered in black molten lava and ash, and very sparse flowers grew on it. And they only really grew on that mountainside. And it was very hard to get up on that hillside. Hillside, because of the constant bombardment of these lava rocks, hot lava rocks coming at them. Many have tried and got burned, and when they grabbed a flower, they broke it, and killed it. So Bruce is just walking along, humming a tune, checking out everything, and he hears this hum, and he's like, oh, what is that? This humming going on, and it gets louder and louder and louder and louder, and he sees, in the sky, this these fireballs, small little fireballs that are just coming out of nowhere, from that direction. And he's like, what the hell's going on here? And he has to go investigate, and he just walks up on the hillside, and he looks down, and there's like two flowers sitting there, and they're humming, and he's like, what's going on here? This is great. And he senses the, and out of nowhere he pulls his nunchucks and hits the nunchucks. He hits the fireball and sends it flying. And the two flowers are just sitting there, just just basically oozing help. They were humming the word help, I guess. And the only last two flowers left ever, like the two flowers of extinction. You know, he's looking around. Bruce is looking around on this hillside, and he sees a few other flowers that have been hit by the fireballs, the lava balls, the lava missiles, and he's like, something's trying to kill all these flowers. Why? It's a beautiful flower. It smells great. It's got a tune. It's humming. Surely this thing is alive and worthy of protection. And he's got his nunchucks out. And sure enough, every now and then, fireball comes out of nowhere. And he hits it. Sends it flying, or he hits it and it explodes. So he's doing this for a while. He's just sitting there, just standing there, over the flowers, and they're humming, and you can every time he hits a flower, or every time he hits the missile, the flowers kind of calm down a little bit, like, like this would have been the one, this could have been the one. Imagine that, you're stuck on a hillside, and something is killing everything around you. All your brothers and sisters are dying, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you're next. You're next, and you just don't know when. Every sound, every impact could be your next, could be you. And so, Bruce is kind of feeling that. He's kind of feeling that. He's very astute, and he stands there with vigilance, and he continues to battle these lava missiles as they come. And sometimes they come very frequently. Sometimes it's one or two. And he's just standing there, hitting these things, exploding them on impact, whatever. And there's a pile of rubble that's forming around him and falling down the hillside. And he just continues to do this for who knows how long. A very long time. The Seether gets word of this, and then is like, "What is this?" She comes upon him, and says, "Who are you that you care about these despicable flowers?" And Bruce Lee is nailing these lava missiles, these meteorites from the lava, and said, "Who are you that cares?" I'm just trying to help another being out. And she's like, "We'll see about that." And she runs off to the volcano and does her Seether magic, and boom, bigger ones come out. These massive boulders at first, like this. And they're streaming fire, and Bruce is like, "Oh, okay." Pow! Pow, pow, pow. And he's nailing them, just totally obliterating them, And, the Seether's like, she's standing on the volcano, sending these hot fire and brimstone missiles at Bruce now. I mean, not at the flower, at Bruce, right at him. And everything that she throws at him, he is just exploding them with his little sticks on a string. And she's just like, "How can this guy with these two little sticks on a string stop me? The great Seether, the great elfin Seether." No, and she pulls deep from with her soul and in her magic and has sex with a rock or something. I don't know. And whatever seethers do for magic. And sends this massive boulder the size of a house at him. And it's just... And by this time, the villagers are like, whoa, what's going on here? Uh-oh, this might be cause for alarm, y'all. And so all these elves and dwarves come running out, and they see this massive fireball coming at the hillside, and there's one guy standing up there, with his nunchucks, his sticks on a string, and as soon as it gets close, you just hear "Ayah!" and the massive fireball explodes and showers the area in ash and fire, and the villagers are, what the hell is going on? And good sir, what are you doing? Get out of there! And hi, how are you doing? This story has been interrupted by Charity. Here you go. Starving to death, eh? Okay, there you go. So, the villagers are amazed, and they see there's a flower up there. There's 2 flowers still up there. And they're like, he's saving the flowers. He's saving our flowers, our mead flowers. He's saving them. He's saving them. And they were like, wow, this is amazing. And sir, who are you? He's like, I'm just a man just passing through and seeing that something needed my help. And I'm here to help. And she's sending these massive boulders, and she'll mix it up every now and then. She'll send a barrage of like 100 little fiery fireballs at him, a barrage of missiles, and Bruce Lee just hits them all. He's Bruce Lee, and bam, he knocks him out of the park, and so. Seether's just taken away by this. She's like, this is amazing. That's it. I'm gonna throw this whole freaking volcano at him. And she's doing all her magical stuff and pulling up all this magical stuff and from the cracks of the ground. Lava is coming up and flowing and whirling in the air and moving around like a snake, and she's trying to command it and send it towards Bruce, and out of nowhere a rainstorm cools the lava down. She's like, oh, what the hell? Why can't I have... Curse you gods! And your rainstorms. So, maybe somebody had something to do with that. Who knows? You decide. So Bruce is taking a reprieve, because the Seether is over there trying to lift the volcano. She can't do it. She doesn't have the magic. And then finally, she manifests herself in front of. At the bottom of the hill, and says, "How dare you, try to, interfere in my affairs? And I want those flowers dead, those 2 flowers." And Bruce Lee's like, 2? Now there's 4. What? Yes, they're multiplying now. And they're humming along. There were 2, now there's 4. Yeah, wow, how about that? And they're loving the rich lava soil that Bruce is creating with his, every time he hits and strikes one, he says, keep sending them, woman. Everyone you send me is fertilizer for these flowers. and they shall grow and take over. There's nothing you can do about it. I'll stand here until you stop, and until they grow back. And she's like, we'll see about that. And she pulls out a little thing, a little amulet, as this will destroy any living thing. Throws it at him. This bright red flame comes at Bruce Lee, and he hits it with his nunchucks, and she's like, nobody can do that. Nobody can stop that. That's not possible. That's not possible. No living soul could do that. And Bruce is like, I'm dead. Oh. See, there's like, I give up. Obviously, you're some kind of divine spirit or something. I can't stop you. And if this is your will, which your will is stronger than mine, then I succeed. I concede, and let your stupid flowers grow. And the villagers are like, what? Yay! All right, Bruce. They're chanting Bruce, Bruce, Bruce in their elven tongue and in dwarf tongue, and they're just amazed. And off in the distance, there's a little black raven sitting there on a branch watching everything. He flies away. Hunin or Moonin, whoever he is, whichever one he is, memory, thoughts. Yeah, we always fear that. Odin always fears that memory will never return, but every time he goes out. So Bruce is covered in this ashy substance, and the villagers are like, please, sir, come down and let us clean you up at least, and give you a place to stay, and give you some food, and would you like some gold? I mean, how about I've got a perfectly good-looking daughter right here, And Bruce is like, no. He's like, the love of my life is in another place, and I can never love again. Not in that way. And so he does accept a wet towel so he can clean himself off, because you can't just walk around all dirty like that, And they're like, wow, yeah, what's your name? What's your name, sir? Bruce Lee. My name is Bruce Lee. And where do you come from? I was like, I came from Earth. Where's Earth? Where's Earth? I don't know Earth. You guys call it Midgard. Ah, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. And then that's all he says. He doesn't say anything else more. Like, where did you get this weapon, this 2 sticks on a string? And like, these are nunchucks. That's great. Yeah. And out of nowhere, some kid picks up a rock and goes, ah! Bruce Lee's like, ah! I seen that. And so now all the kids are throwing little pine cones and rocks at him. He's chasing them around with his nunchucks and knocking them out of the way and chasing them and playing with the kids. Bruce Lee loved kids. Some would say he was a big kid himself. And all the villagers like, this guy saves our most valuable flower and then runs around and plays with our kids. And doesn't want to take my daughters as wives, and he doesn't want to he doesn't want to take gold, and and he looks at him. He goes, after he stops running around with the kids, and he's like, might you have a piece of meat? And they're like, meat? You want meat? Yeah. What kind of meat? We got sheep. We got cow. We got gupta. We got this flying weird thing over here. He's like, how about cow? How about a steak? Yeah, I'll take a steak. Yeah, I'm hungry. After all that, I'm hungry. And they're like, bet you are. And he said, just a little piece though. They're like, what? Yeah, just a piece about that big around. No bigger. That's all. and a piece of bread. Small little piece of bread. Now, you save our village, and all you want in return is a piece of bread and a piece of meat. That's it. He's like, yep, that's all I want. And I'll be on my way. You know. And he's sitting there drinking, you know, from his cup. And he drinks everything out of his cup. You know, and they're like, are you sure this is all you want? He's like, oh yes, this is fine. Takes the bread, puts it in a cup. Takes the meat, puts it in a cup. Eats his bread and eats his meat. And, thank you, folks. I must be going. And they're like, please stay the night at least. Like, no. I gotta go. And so he takes off, and with his cup, eating bread and meat, which he ate for hours, because his cup never empties. So that is the story of Bruce in the village of Elfinheim and his battle with the Seether and her magic, and the way that he saved the mead flower, which oddly enough, the villagers from Elfinheim didn't know this, but that honey makes its way to Asgard, and they actually use it in their mead making. So it's some of the best mead in the world, in the 9 realms, if you will. And so somebody made it rain. Usually Seethers have like they play the game of the gods and gain their favor for magic. This time she didn't have it. So we ended here. The Saga of Bruce. This is one of many, folks. One of many. Because Bruce is on he's taking a break. He's walking down the trail and eating some meat and some bread out of his cup that never empties. After a hard day's or month's worth, they say that he would probably been up there for a month or two in that one spot trying to save those flowers. The humming flowers. So, this is Matt Chad, encouraging you all to continue to train, continue to prep, and continue to look at the flowers. Because we all know it's a mad, mad world out there. And in here.